What an incredible UCL quarterfinal, man. I mean, this Real Madrid Bayern Munich tie was absolute legendary footy. Incredible hoop sesh, if you will. But yeah, I can only say thank you to Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. You know, those teams, whenever they're up against each other, it's always cinema. You can think about it, I think 2 3 years ago, 2 years ago actually, when Joselu, God, I hated that team. But Joselu, it was just such a lucky win, wasn't it? 2 years ago, Joselu taps it in. If Neuer could just, keep the ball right there, man, that Bayern Munich final, that would have been a Der Klassiker final, huh? But anywho, yeah, these teams, they always make fireworks. Glad we could witness another great UCL tie. This is why we watch the sport, am I right? On top of that, Bayern Munich in the UCL semifinal. I mean, nothing. I expect nothing less for the way this team's been performing this season. Absolutely flying away with the Bundesliga. Broke the Bundesliga team goals record. Obviously, Harry Kane's probably on the fast track for Ballon d'Or. Elise is not far behind him, obviously, in a World Cup year. Lucho Diaz will definitely be on that list as well. You'll definitely see him in the top 10. Obviously, the World Cup can do a lot of things, right? It can change everything, but what Bayern are proposing this season to football, very much been a joy to watch. And you have my applaud, my bravo, whatever, my admiration. But all right, we've done the nice stuff. You know what I mean? Let's get to the good stuff, man. Real Madrid. Let's take this game and let's just step back because Real Madrid's a big club, and big clubs always look at the big picture. Okay? And if you look at the big picture, Real Madrid failed this season, a trophyless season. Last year you could say it was trophyless, but they won two trophies, right? They won the Intercontinental, they won the Super Cup. So, fair play. You won those. Those are trophies. Even if, people discount them, trophies are trophies, man. These trophies matter. And you only get to those trophies by winning the UCL, right? And by winning, or actually, you just got to win the UCL. I guess you could win the Europa League, but you get what I mean. So, for this season, Lauren, after last season, you saw how bad the team was, right? Ancelotti couldn't get it out of them. They went to Arsenal, got absolutely demolished by Declan Rice, went back home and still lost. And then on top of that, you got blown away by Barcelona on all accounts every single time. Copa del Rey, Super Cup, in the league, you got absolutely laid the smack down on. So, taking all of that into account, you say, hey, okay, we saw where we messed up last season. Let's go get a defender, Dean Huijsen. Matter of fact, let's go get two defenders. Let's get Dean Huijsen and let's go get Trent Alexander-Arnold. And on top of that, you're saying, oh, matter of fact, let's get three defenders. Let's go get Dean Huijsen, Trent, and Alex or Alejandro Carreras or whatever his name is. Carreras. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I'm forgetting his first name right now, but you go and get Carreras. Boom. You're like, you know what? That's not enough. Let's go get Franco Mastantuono. And now you're thinking, okay, Madrid got some transfers, but when you look at what they've done, who's delivered? Carreras had a howler first leg so bad that you did not play him this leg. You played Ferland Mendy. You know what I mean? Trent's been injured. Trent's still a great player. I'm not going to get on Trent too much, but Trent's a great player, but obviously underwhelmed this season by far, right? He left Liverpool because the quote that was being thrown around was, oh, he wants to be the first right back in the Ballon d'Or conversation. Brother, you're not even in the best right back conversations. You know what I'm saying? Dean Huijsen, the best young defender in the world. I don't have to say anything else. Right? I mean, oh man, it's just a failure on all accounts. Don't even get me started on Mastantuono. He should have never went there. Right? PSG were in for him. Could you imagine Mastantuono at PSG? Could you imagine him at PSG right now? I know if I'm him, I'm feeling like I made the wrong choice. Young players don't develop at Madrid, man. It's very rare. Think about it. It took Vini eons, right? Eons to develop. And that was after, all the big guys left, right? Ronaldo left. They were, Bale ended up leaving too, but like, there was space for him. There was no space for you, Mastantuono. And then let's get to the big boys, okay? We can talk about today, and I don't wanna do this point unfairly because I have a lot to say about their superstars. But one superstar in particular, right? You can talk about Vini. I thought Vini did not have a great game today. He did have a great assist for Mbappe, but overall he did not have a great game today. I felt, he missed that chance. He had one chance to hit a crossbar. And he hit the one with his left foot that he just like goes. I mean, it's tough because it's a weak foot, but it goes, wild. And that chance that he missed that Mbappe slotted for him, that's a bad chance missed. That should at least have some contact on it. But Jude, actually, let's get to Jude. Jude had a good game in my opinion. Like I think he had a pretty good game. He wasn't like, box crashing, 10 that we know him for. But that's long and gone. That's not what he's supposed to do anymore. As far as being in the midfield, progressing play, keeping possession, dribbling through the midfield, and getting your team up the field, he did that very well. And in defense as well. He was very, very industrious as well. I don't have too much to say about the midfield today. Sorry, I got a bad throat, but I don't have too much negative to say about the midfield today, except a certain someone who we'll get to later. But let's look back at the big picture. 2 seasons ago, Kylian Mbappe and PSG were in the semifinal versus Borussia Dortmund, and we blew it. And I'm not gonna put that semifinal on Mbappe. He missed some chances, yes, but I mean Dembele missed some bad chances. Ruiz, Gonzalo Ramos, Warren Zaire-Emery, Hakimi. Nobody could score, right? Nobody. I mean, that Warren Zaire-Emery chance. My gosh, that was a bad miss. Some of those Dembele chances were terrible misses. But you leave that team. You go to Madrid. That's your dream club. I understand. Like, let's not be stupid here, guys. Everyone who grows up in football dreams about playing for Madrid. It just happens. Like you envision yourself as a kid. Like even if you have a different favorite club, you're like, man, I envision myself at Madrid, and at the very least, you envision yourself at the Bernabeu. That's how historical this club is. Number one club of all time. But when you went to Madrid, right? We knew the standards were going to go up, okay? The standards are going up. And not because of just you going to Madrid, but because, I'm hitting my table here, but because the kind of standards that a player, the kind of player you are, those are the kind of standards we need you to hit, okay? When you go to Madrid, you're going to a club that just won the Champions League the season, right? When you left, your team couldn't hit the goal. You nor your team. You go to this club who are the champions, and for basically 2 seasons in a row, have won nothing major. You've won nothing major. You didn't win the league. You didn't win your league's cup or your, national cup, whatever. And now you're out of the Champions League in the quarterfinal again. Madrid out in the quarterfinals back to back. You remember the last time Madrid was out in the quarterfinal? Can you tell me? It was 1920, and I don't even think that was the quarterfinal. That was the round of 16. So 2020. But now back to back, you've gone out in the quarterfinals. And no, it's not all your fault. But when you're the superstar, the onus falls on you. And I'm not trying to say this as Mbappe had a bad game. I think he had a fine game. He scored. He was dangerous. That's great. But for me, he left goals on the table that could have changed this tie. In the end, Bayern won 6-4 on aggregate. Mbappe probably had 4 or 5 chances. And yeah, Neuer saved some. Great saves. But you're the best player in the world. You're supposed to be. I expect you to hit those. And I can't say like this is all on Mbappe. I'm trying to make that a clear point. But what I am saying is back in 2017, 2018, well, when I became a fan of Mbappe, and that basically led to me becoming a fan of PSG and how I'm with football today, right? There was a certain expectation that you've got to, at the time, lead PSG to their first UCL. It didn't happen. It was tough. Nobody could do it. Messi couldn't do it. Neymar couldn't do it. And obviously, Messi missed that penalty in 2022, and then Donnarumma and Marquinhos, and in that second leg at Madrid. I mean, some of the things that we had to suffer was not his fault at PSG, right? Even that United leg, like that's a very flaky penalty to me, but whatever. But like a lot of the mishaps and things, like his teammates let him down, yeah. But when you went to Madrid, right? Like that standard. Okay, you've got the team now. That this was a narrative now. Okay, you go to Madrid, you have a good team, right? A good team. Not that PSG wasn't a good team, because obviously I'm a PSG fan. I'm just try to tell you the narrative, right? People, the masses were like, okay, he's at a good team now. You've got a machine behind you to where you don't always have to drag him over the line. They can help you over the line. But ever since you came, you guys have been way far behind the line. You guys aren't even close to the line. You guys can't get past the last 8. That's not Madrid standard. That's not Mbappe standard. Or maybe it is. But I'd love to see it change because I fell in love with the sport because of Mbappe. 2018 World Cup, this guy comes on against, or doesn't come on, but he shows up versus Argentina. Messi's on the pitch, Griezmann's on the pitch, and he steals the show. Right? He steals the show. He gets that penalty, he gets 2 goals, and he obviously stole the show that World Cup. Then he comes back the next World Cup and basically dominates the whole tournament, right? Where we are now, it just seems like that's so far gone. Like, and it's tough because with the expectations that those performances gave, we all thought, he'd be the best player in the world. And I think he was, you could argue he still is, but with, that level of status, the trophies have to come. It doesn't even have to be the Champions League. Like if you won La Liga this year, that'd be an improvement, right? But you've won neither. You didn't even win the Copa del Rey. So this is my message or my sentiment about Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe has the potential to be one of the best we've ever seen to play the game. Like I'm talking top 5, right? Up there with the Pelés. But what separates your Pelés, Maradonas, Messi's, Ronaldo's from, your Neymars and your Ibras are the trophies, right? No, by all means, he goes and he wins the second World Cup. Hands up. I'll be celebrating right with him. I will be right there with him. But I mean, the trophy is there, right? That's it, right? And it's tough that we use trophies to determine these metrics and to determine, these legacies. But the theory or the principle is the best players win trophies, right? The best players should win trophies. That's how we think. And I just feel as good or as solid as he was, right? He scored half of Madrid's goals in this time. But with the opportunities that he got, I expected more. Maybe it's harsh, but that's how I feel. That's just how I feel. Madrid, man. There's a lot of things wrong. You can talk about the culture too, because ever since Mbappe came, I think before Mbappe came, there was room for players to express themselves at Madrid. It felt like, there wasn't this one big looming superstar as good as Vini was, as good as Jude was, as good as Rodrigo was. It wasn't like the one superstar that dominated the space, right? And you can look at the parallels with PSG after Mbappe left, right? After Mbappe left, Guys like Vitinha, guys like even Marquinhos, right? Who is the captain, but on the field, like if Mbappe tells you to do something and Marquinhos tells you to do something, a PSG player was gonna listen to Mbappe all the time, right? I mean, he's the dictator. But there wasn't room rather, sorry, back then for players like Vitinha, you know, all the other side players, like even Dembele. It wasn't room for them to express themselves as much. Hakimi even, Mensch. Now all of those personalities have blossomed into and melded into such this, great combination in the locker room that's made the locker room such a great place to play in, and everyone feels like family. Now you look at Madrid, Mbappe is the guy, right? Even though Vinny's been there for however long. I mean, this is Kylian Mbappe we're talking about. He comes in, he dominates the dressing room, and yeah, he's got a big personality. All superstars do, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that changes your culture, right? Now that Madrid room feels tighter and claustrophobic. The pressure, you feel the pressure all the time, and maybe not as familial because it's like, man, we're all competing because, Mbappe's taking up time, or Mbappe's like, you're just worried about Mbappe. That's what happens with superstars. And that's happened the whole time. I'm not trying to blame Mbappe, but then Real Madrid has to work around that, build a team around that, right? At this point, you have to make a cohesive team if you want to win. It's not even at this point. It's always been the case. Even with Ronaldo, right? United, they had Ronaldo, Rooney, Scholes, etc., Park. Like, these were all really great players who all, melded well and played so that they platformed a superstar like Ronaldo to do incredible things. Same with Barca, right? Obviously, Xavi and Iniesta, David Villa, Pedro, right? Alba, Alves, all these guys, PK, they all came together. And even though Messi was a big personality, even when they had Neymar and Suarez, they fell in line and platformed Messi, right? And Messi platformed them too because, he's that great of a player. But you get what I'm saying, right? Madrid have to find some sort of balance. There's got to be the guy, and all these guys got to fall in line, or you're just, you're going to be stuck with things like this. The culture there, it's rotten. Yeah, that's as simple as that, right? It's rotten. You can't win with that. You can't win. You sacked Xabi Alonso, a great manager. Wherever he goes next, he's going to succeed. I can guarantee you that because he's that good of a manager. And Madrid said, no, we're good. Why would you do that? The culture there is rotten, man. Ancelotti couldn't get it with the squad. Come on, man. Give me a break. This Madrid team's finished. They got a lot to change. It's more than just transfers. It's a culture issue, okay? And not to say Mbappe is the root of the culture issue, but I think if you can figure out how to get it so that the team, feels empowered to play for him, you got a good recipe. I really do think so. We'll see what happens. But hey, I think everyone saw this coming. Bayern were always the better team. And yeah, I don't even feel bad for Madrid. We'll see what they do. I mean, the league's over. Players are just gonna start thinking about the World Cup. They can basically rest, play on second gear. You got second place, you got Champions League qualification wrapped up in La Liga. Just, wait for the World Cup. This is a training session for the World Cup. All these guys. So yeah, there's that. Unless Barcelona absolutely capitulate. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I'm not even gonna speak it into existence. Arsenal sporting is nothing really. I don't. Were you watching that? If you're not an Arsenal fan, were you really watching that? I wasn't. I wasn't watching. No, I was watching it on my phone, second screened it. But I mean that game was absolute bore fest. I just, why would you watch that when you have, this on, this amazing tie on? But yeah, that's just how I feel. I mean, good for Arsenal to get through. I can't complain. I can't bash them too much. I mean, not to score versus Sporting is worrying. It is pretty worrying. I mean, you scored against them away, but not to score against them at home. And I get it. You play the objective, right? Like, It doesn't matter if you win 1-0 or 10-0. You don't get any further in the competition. You still go to the semifinals, but I expect a little bit more. Just, you should at least be scoring against Sporting now. But Sporting are a very solid, tough team. And they've done well to make it this far, too. So, by all means, and they came back against Bodo Glimt down 3-0, I believe, or something like that, or 3-1. So, credit to Sporting. They're a tough team for sure. But I expect a little more about Arsenal. But yeah, now we can look towards the semifinals a bit. Let's do that real quick. Hold on. All right. Here we go. Let me actually zoom in on this. But look at these tasty semifinals. Quick early predictions. I think maybe it's tough. With PSG and Bayern, I think that's obviously the most attractive semifinal. Two teams who play attacking footy. This is going to be a shootout, I think. I think we're looking at 3 goals minimum in each game. I would not be surprised for one of these games to have 5 or more goals, genuinely. PSG, Bayern is their kryptonite. Bayern always beat PSG. I think the last time PSG beat Bayern in the Champions League was 2021. And then before that, it was 2017, and Bayern have won everything in between that. So it's about like 7 wins or so, and then 2 wins for PSG. So this is not the same PSG. Although PSG also did lose to them in the league stage, but the league stage is the league stage, as we saw last season with PSG and Arsenal. With that being said, my heart wants to go PSG, but I think my head is telling me Bayern. It's going to be tough. The one thing we have going for us is Dembele didn't play. Dembele only played 20 minutes or so versus Bayern in the league stage, and he almost scored a goal, but it was offside. But yeah, he was injured. This is a different Dembele. We'll see what happens. There's a lot. It's a lot better of a Warren Zaire-Emery, and then we'll also have Hakimi for the whole game, hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Marquinhos is in much better form as well. But yeah, I just think this Bayern team, scary. Scary, scary. On the other side, Atleti Arsenal, not as attractive, but I think it's mainly because people have this misconception that Atleti still play raw ball and play in a low block. It's not necessarily the case. They are more attacking now, obviously, with their signings, Alvarez, Lookman, Sorloth, etc. And now Simeone's bombing down the wing, and Llorente is playing incredibly in the Champions League too. And then on top of that, you have this overarching storyline of Griezmann, trying to get sent off with the trophy, right? I think they're more tempted to go for it. Arsenal, on the other hand, even if they do go for it, it feels like they lack some final third quality. In the end, I think Arsenal are still the better team. It's tough though because Arsenal have this Premier League thing. So like if they lose versus City at the weekend, I would go Atleti. So that's basically what I want to base it off of. But right now, I'd say Arsenal, they can defend just well enough. They'll get a goal off a set piece and they'll call it that. And then Bayern Arsenal final. Probably Bayern will win that, I think. But it depends how. If Arsenal win the league, they might be feeling way more confident. Could Bayern could barely score on Arsenal, in their meeting in the league stage. But the thing about the league stage is it's the league stage. These are the knockouts. These are the finals, semifinals. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think if you think about it, these are the 3 best teams this season, right? Undisputably. Bayern, PSG, Arsenal, whatever order you had them in, they were the top 3 teams in the world this season. And yeah, I think all deserved it. Atleti beat a game Barca. Barca shot themselves in the foot. Atleti definitely deserved to be here. So yeah, this is going to be fun. But we'll see what happens. That being said, thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy, Ollie Footy. Until next time, we out.